Hello and welcome to the Happy Goddess Shop. How are you? Hope you're doing good. Now let's get into this. For a very long time, I'm including myself into this. There was this struggle, and there's still a struggle for many of us. The faith, the Bible, is placed in hoodoo. Does it still belong in hoodoo? Is it really a part of hoodoo? Hmm. If I turn away from the Bible and using the Bible in my workings, am I turning away from God? And if I'm using the Bible to do my workings, is it blasphemy to God? Our ancestors fought, were hung, burned, dragged, whipped, maimed to hold on to their identity, their name, their religion, everything. Look at that. I that was in every that right there was in every black household. Every black household had a picture of that man in their home, including my grandmother. He didn't look like me. Couldn't figure out who this man was and why he was in my house. But that was what you worshiped. Blind faith, worshiping a picture that a white man created. And that is what we followed and worshiped and looked up to, prayed to. Does hoodoo have a place in, does the Bible have the place in hoodoo when the Bible, the Bible is in a spell book? A lot of people think the Bible is a spell book, and in some ways, maybe it is a spell book. But then again, when you read the Bible, it contradicts itself. And then here I am again back in this position. And here you are again back in that position. And here everybody else is back in that position when you read Deuteronomy and it tells you it's against witchcraft and spells and magic and tarot and divination. And all of those things are all against God and blasphemy and evil. And I said to myself, what am I doing? Am I right to practice this religion? Am I right to practice hoodoo? Am I wrong for leaving the church? I never felt so alive and so good and so happy. And I so much progress in my life when I found hoodoo and found other, African, practices. It felt good in my soul. I mean, the best feeling I've had in, I don't know, since I was a child. When I went to church, I didn't feel connected. I didn't feel that connection. I felt connected to the people that were around me, my family who went. I felt connected when we all sat down together and we had the Sunday meal of mac and cheese and cornbread and stuff, and the Sunday dinners that the ladies would get together in the big kitchen and sell. I felt something when I was around other kids my age, playing and talking and everything. I felt the connection, but sitting there and listening to that man on that pulpit telling me stuff, I didn't feel that connection. I didn't feel that spark. I didn't feel what my family felt and other members of my family felt. I didn't feel those things. And for years, I had to go to church. I had to go to church. I had to go to church. I had to go to church because it was forced on me, just like it was forced on our ancestors before, our great, 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 grandparents. It was all forced on them. The ancestors, it was forced on them. And finally, when I had that opportunity to say enough is enough, I stopped going. And I went to Baptist church, Moravian church. I even went to, convert to being a Muslim. I even at one point thought of Judaism. I thought of all of these things and Wicca and all of that because my great grandmother is half this. So I have ties into both community. So I at one point thought I was Wicca. And that worked for a while. It did. But then Hoodoo felt so right. But then the guilt, because it's been programmed into us to embrace that church, embrace those paintings that don't look like us, embrace a book that condemns all that we do to help ourselves progress in life. It finds us disgusting, but for doing what we do. I tell you, the Protestants and the Christians, they found the perfect book to give to Black people. They found the perfect book to give to slaves, to guilt them, to break them down, to weaken them, to adjust to a religion that broke our connection to that tree, to the ancestor tree, to our our roots and practices and our everything. All of it tied in. They broke that, and now I feel like I'm coming back to it. I'm coming back to that tree, and I feel my roots are being planted into that tree. Well, it was already in that tree. I just got to acknowledge it. I just got to grab onto it. Or do I have to grab onto it when it's already in me? Damn, the confusions that Christianity and the Baptists and Protestants, all this stuff that y'all confusing me. It's too much. Welcome to Christianity versus Ancestral Roots, a struggle for African American identity. Something I'm struggling with, but I'm not. I know where home is. And I hope that this video helps others let go of that guilt. The Bible was introduced to African Americans through colonization and slavery. For some, using the Bible in Hoodoo can feel like continuing the religious imposition of their ancestors' oppressors. Many practitioners seek to decolonize their spiritual practices by returning to African-based spiritual traditions and elements that were not influenced by Christianity or any other religion. Not all Hoodoo practitioners identify as Christian or Baptist or any of these other things, or feel a connection to the Bible. Those who follow different spiritual paths may find using the Bible against or not aligning with their beliefs. Some modern practitioners prefer a more eclectic approach, integrating elements from various spiritual traditions that resonate more with their personal beliefs and experiences. Hoodoo has roots in African spiritual practices that predate the introduction of Christianity. Yeah. Some practitioners aim to reconnect with these pre Christian traditions and avoid incorporating Christian elements like the Bible. Now, emphasizing African spiritual systems such as Ifa, Voodoo, and other indigenous practices can offer a more authentic connection to my and yours ancestral traditions. Like I said about that tree, that beautiful, tall, almost to the sky tree that connects all of us. For some people, the Bible may be associated with negative experiences or trauma related to religious upbringing. Avoiding the Bible allows them to create a spiritual practice free from these associations. And when you think about it, that Bible was forced on us. We were forced to embrace the Bible. I wonder and I think about those slaves who came here and and the African, people that were already here from West Africa who came here, years ago and blended in with the Native Americans and that's another subject. How it felt to have that book placed in their hands and say, "This is who you are now." Imagine what they were going through, where they had their own beliefs, their own spirits, their own guides, their own deities and everything. And all of a sudden, all of who you are is ripped out. And now some stranger is filling in that space with things that you don't even identify with, know what it is. And you're going to keep that. And you're going to pass that down to every last person in your line. And they're going to follow that religion. I think people are starting to look at the fact that Christianity was built on blood, not just slave blood, but, their need and hunger to conquer and be the dominant religion. They were willing to do anything to achieve that. So when a lot of people think of Christianity and the missionaries and their agendas, it does not come up as a positive thing. It comes up as trauma. It comes up as pain. For some indigenous people, they viewed the Christianity and Christians as the plague. Because once they came through, they destroyed everything in their path. And they definitely tried to destroy our ancestors. They tried to break them down. And they succeeded in a way because they even convinced the church to turn away. And now the church has been so programmed that they forgot the old ways. And now they want to demonize us. The wickedness of it all. Imagine if our ancestors came back today and they see how we are living after all the sacrifices, all the blood that has been spilled into the soil. All the strange fruit that was swinging, and they come back today and see how we are living, that we now have a freedom of choice to embrace what we want to embrace, and we have chosen to embrace the same thing that crushed them at one point, or almost crushed their spirit at one point. We have chosen to embrace everything the oppressor pushed on us, and we embrace it proudly now. Moving away from the Bible can be an act of healing and reclaiming personal power. It could be that and more. Reclaiming identity. It could be so much. It really can be. Reclaiming personal power, identity, community for those who have experienced religious oppression or trauma. Yeah. The Bible is a religious text meant for spiritual guidance, not for magical spells or rituals. Using the Bible in hoodoo can be seen as disrespectful to religious beliefs and practices of Christianity. I'm just naming some things that, why some people would not want to use the Bible. Hoodoo is an African American folk magic tradition. Using the Bible in hoodoo can be seen as cultural appropriation and disconnection from its roots. The Bible's energy is focused on spiritual growth, not manifestation or magic. Mixing energies can be counterproductive. Using the Bible in hoodoo may indicate a limited understanding of the tradition and its roots. Incorporating the Bible can dilute the traditional practices and beliefs of hoodoo. Using the Bible in hoodoo can be seen as inauthentic and disconnected from the tradition, history, and cultural context. Keeping the Bible and hoodoo separate shows respect for both traditions and the ancestors. What do you think? Black men and women are struggling today between holding on to the Bible, the only religion they know, and the history that our ancestors fought tooth and nail to not convert to Christianity or any other religion. Is the Bible a spiritual spell book to be used with hoodoo? Or like it states in Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy 18, chapter 18, 11 through 12, that anyone who casts spells or who is a medium or spiritist or who consults the dead is detestable to the Lord. Now, damn, that's some heavy guilt right there, that you're sinning if you use the book. But that's all you left us. That's all you left us. So now you have this heavy guilt if you walk away, and you got this guilt if you use the book to do your spell work. Because what is it? Is the book, I am challenging things. Like, is the book really a key component to hoodoo? Voodoo? Because in that book, it tells us over and over in different parts of that book that is not a spell book, and that they do not like witches, divination of any kind. crystals, all of that stuff. Most of that stuff is a no. It says it that anyone who casts spells or who is a medium is the test and should be put to death. And this is why the book was chosen and given to us. For us to feel guilty for what we do and what we did before this book was introduced to us. Whew. I tell you, what do you think? What do you think? The Bible, though often used in Hoodoo, is not inherently a spell book. Its original content is religious, not magical. However, the African diasporic cultures have always found ways to adapt and blend traditions, creating unique spiritual practices like hoodoo, voodoo. But the conflict lies in the biblical verses like Deuteronomy, which condemns practices aligned with African traditional religions. This has led to a generation and generations of Black people being made to feel guilty or ashamed of their ancestral spiritualities. But you know what? It's essential to acknowledge and respect the historical trauma and cultural, the cultural erasement, the cultural deletion that has occurred. African diasporic, people deserve the freedom to explore and reconnect with their ancestral traditions without fear of judgment or prosecution. And there is no prosecution these days. Healing and decolonization requires creating spaces for dialogue. And I hope this video does that. I tell you, we must honor our ancestors' resilience and wisdom, while also acknowledging the complex realities of our histories. We need to reclaim our spiritual heritage. We need to get that pride and that dignity in our spiritual practices. I want y'all to comment below and tell me what y'all think about this video. That struggle between church, Bible, and embracing voodoo, Santeria, whatever you practice. I hope this video helps. I hope this video helps a lot of people out there that are struggling and have questions. And I just want you to know that you are not alone, that I went through that struggle of, feeling torn in two places. Like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Which way do I go? That guilt, I'm telling you, that guilt is deep. It makes you feel like, okay, if I practice hoodoo, am I going against God? Because I believe in God. I believe in there is the great divine. There is somebody. I do believe in the great divine. But I don't believe in him looking like that. No. But I do believe that there is a great divine. Yes. I do believe that there is a religious book that exists. I believe there are a lot of religious books that predate, and way before Christianity and this church. And I think, it's sad that not in my lifetime, my children's lifetime, or anybody's lifetime, that the Vatican is never going to open up and show us all the things that they have taken that we've been denied in learning about. But then again, to be the dominant, you have to steal and hide and remove everything else and leave only that one door to turn to, and that is Christianity. Staring at that man, the pulpit. Hmm. Whew. Y'all chime in and let me know what you think, Soul Tribe. What do y'all think, Soul Tribe? I know I'm not the only one because I've talked to so many people who went through the same struggle, or some who are still going through that struggle. That Bible, I tell you, was a trip because in so many chapters and so many places, it says that you can't use it for the purpose of spells and how it detests people who use magic and this and the other. So, I don't know. Is our connection to the ancestors and the guides and the angels and everybody else? I don't know. Is our connection strong enough that you know? Our, is it strong enough that we can manifest what we need to manifest without? Because I tell you, the Haitians were able to manifest their freedom, and they paying for it every day, but they were able to manifest their freedom with using just their religion. There is countless times in history where people have rebelled to hold on to their identity, using voodoo, using hoodoo to help them. I don't know. Just my thoughts. Y'all tell me what y'all think, please. I'm just going to leave it here. Okay.